Yeah.
Hello,
Good.
everyone. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the third episode of our NLP series. Today, we have June again with us. We are truly humbled to have you. And I'm really hoping that, like all the other conversations, today is going to be a blast as well. So, everyone, this is a great opportunity for you to learn and to know how NLP works. Specifically, what we would be talking about today is transforming minds, a deep dive into NLP techniques and their real world impact. So today's episode is all going to be about NLP techniques, how they work, what do they give you, if you go through them, and what challenges we can cater if we use these techniques. So yes, June, I welcome you first of all, and please, I would want to give you sometimes to just introduce this topic and maybe come up with the first technique that you really like or you think has a very strong impact in real life.
Hi, Manahil. Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me again. It's been a while that we did the first podcast session, and we've gotten so much value from that podcast. And I'm so thankful and grateful for this opportunity to share again our insights on how we can help more individuals transform their lives with neurolinguistic programming and timeline therapy. Now, how do I use NLP, right, for my day-to-day challenges to help me achieve my goals faster? The number one that I always use is reframes. Reframes are very practical because it gives you a different perspective in whatever challenge that you encounter in your life. And I believe that challenges will always be there, right? Whether we like it or not, we will experience challenges, but the question there is, how do you face the challenge? How do you overcome the challenge? And this is the beauty that we have because we have tools. So number one for me is reframes. I always ask myself, what are the learnings that I could get from this challenge? What is it teaching me? And the answer is the reframe. Right? And the answer is the reframe.
I think that's very true. Some techniques are very simple in nature. Like, if you look at them and when you learn them for the first time, you're like, right, I can understand that. Maybe at some point of life, I have done that, very unconsciously as well. But I think the simplest of the techniques can have the most lasting and changing effects, right? So for me, as you just talked about, I think cause and effect, something
Mhm.
that actually shook me. And now, people would look at it like, oh yeah, there are many advanced techniques in NLP. And you being a trainer, would you, still say that, cause and effect is your favorite? And I say, yes, I can swear by that. The idea is that none of the techniques in NLP can work if you are not really, adapting to the mindset of being at cause. And I think that really, gives me an awareness, and it also gives me more of a reality check to know my place from where I should be looking at. So every day, in life, when I'm like, okay, so this is too much for me. And even as a trainer, we are humans first, right? Even if I teach NLP, there are days when I'm like, gosh, this is too much for me, right? There's too much work for me. There's too much, burden for me. And then I just sit down and I'm like, okay, so what do I need to do? And
Yeah.
this is one technique. It's like the cause and effect technique. And that is what I bring to my, and believe me, then everything else automatically starts, getting in place when I realize that, where do I have to stand to look at the solution of my problem. And that, that position, it allows me to look at things in a better perspective. And I know when I am at a disempowered state, I know who is responsible for it, and that is me. So the idea is, before doing NLP, and back in years back when I didn't know what NLP is, I did come to pause state. Yeah, I did. But after maybe 6 months, after 1 year, after maybe 5 years, and for certain things in my life. But now, because I have the awareness, yes, I do go at an effect state, at a disempowered
Yeah.
state. But then it takes me lesser time. It takes me few minutes, maybe few
Mhm.
seconds, maybe at times. The maximum one day I stayed effect, and I'm like, whose, whose disadvantage is that? And I'm like,
True.
me, myself, I'm wasting my time, my energy. So it's just that this technique has allowed me to be a human, I still stay in a human capacity, even when you are an ambassador of healing and empowerment, but to stay in a human capacity, but be aware when you have to become the stronger version of yourself right away, because you need results now. So I think this technique, cause and effect technique, when we do this, I think it allows us to completely clean the lens. Like it's like the glasses frame. When we clean it, we see things as they are, rather than seeing ourselves as the victim of what is going through in our life. So I think this is one of the techniques that really has worked for me. June, I would want you to talk a little bit about, negative thinking techniques. There's so many more, right? So what else, or what other technique is something that you resonate with a lot, coming all the way to prac level or master prac level? Any other technique for negative thinking that you think has really good real life impacts?
Hmm. For me, one technique is submodalities belief change.
Okay.
So that's very powerful if you know how to do it. I know
Yes.
that we know about limiting decisions, right? And with submodalities belief change, you have the capacity to program your mind with new beliefs and also remove existing beliefs. And it will cement the process when you do limiting decisions. So that's one technique that I use, submodalities belief change. Another one is also a VK dissociation, visual kinesthetic dissociation. That's one technique that's so practical for me that you could just help yourself. Let's say you feel you are in a negative state, right? You feel that you are in a negative state. You just get out of the picture, shrink it, push it so far, and you could already think clearly. The challenges will always be there, and how we react to it's what's important. And with that process, we get to be more objective, not more emotional. So those are the things that I usually do to help myself. If I want to install a new belief in me about money, about success, I use belief system, submodalities belief change. And after a while, when you know the process, you can do it with yourself, right? You can do it within yourself. And timeline therapy is another technique that always use. I always use because of the negative emotions. We still feel all of that. But when you know and understand the process, you can help yourself anytime. Right? Sometimes I'm just driving, I would just park the car and do the process within the car and I get to release it. So how amazing is that, right?
Yeah, I can, truly resonate when, we were talking about this. I was like, yes, yes, yes. Many a times I have even found myself doing that. And that has actually helped me. So even, one of the techniques, because we as trainers, we are supposed to perform in front of such large crowds,
Mm.
right? And at times it's simply like people from so many different backgrounds, culture, thinking, they're just sitting in front of you, and they're just looking at your face, like, with all that hope that, okay, if you're here, this person is going to gift us with some knowledge, and you're at a position, really, no matter how trained you are, no matter how many years you have spent into that sense of field, and that knowledge, you still have that, you shake a little. Last week I was having a seminar, and I was addressing 200 students from one of the universities in Pakistan. It's called NAST, and there are students from very different countries. So there were students from Nigeria, Afghanistan, Pakistan, so a lot of different countries. And I just remember that when I was stepping on the stage, I was like, I just went into that position where I was like, would I be able to
Yeah.
deliver what I'm here for today? But that very moment, I think, for me, I quickly said, okay, what can I do that can help me actually, at this point in time? And then, timeline therapy for anxiety. I
Mm.
think that is just amazing. You can perform it for yourself. I think that is the wonderful part of it. You can perform it without any coach. Once you learn it, uh, anytime anxiety, peaks into you, it's
True.
basically trying to overpower you, and you know that it is just in a state Either you control it or either it overpowers, that
True.
that feeling that's there. And in that very moment, I just quickly, imagined my successful completion, went through it, and I was like, the steps to the stage, and I'm done. And then, for like maybe 2 minutes, it took me to, get into my states, and being able to deliver. And then it went like it was 1 hour, and I didn't know the time passed by. So I think for us as trainers, if we don't live by NLP, as coaches, because we coach people, we train people every day. If we don't live by NLP ourselves, I think that discrepancy shows. I think I
Agree.
would have nothing to talk about in my trainings. Even, now people are very educated, they're very sharp, they're in a good way, they're very well aware now. And if I'm teaching them something and I am not able to relate it to me, and they can't see that coming through me, actually not through the slides I give or the copyright manuals I give, but if they don't see that coming through me, they would not resonate with NLP. So I think being, if teaching those techniques, good, but if you're not doing them every day for your real world impact also, I think in the longer run, you can't even, survive as a trainer or as a coach, or being the, on that ambassador position of healing,
True.
empowerment, growth, performance enhancement, whatever you call it. So I think for us, it is more of like you're more responsible to do the techniques yourself. Like we have to go through them every single day to also keep that sanity, right? That we need after so much work that we do every single day. So, June, I would want to ask from you as well. Like, mashallah, you are delivering trainings globally. You're the only master trainer, if I'm not wrong, in your country, which is, I think, a great achievement. So, you might be going through so much at days, right? The workload and the burden of keeping that position also, that people would look up to you as somebody who is like the person in the field in their country. So what do you think, being in a position where you have to talk to a certain audience and make them in a trained capacity, giving them out to the world as graduates, what do you think is the technique you apply in your when you have to do a stage performance or deliver or speak? Yeah, I would love to know that.
You know what? Trainer state is one of the best skill that we got from trainers training, and until
Yes.
now, I still use it. Unconsciously just go into the state. Even right now with this
Yes.
interview, we go into trainer state and everything just flows. I believe that when you learn how to utilize learning state, trainer state, and everything just flows in the unconscious mind, and we can just utilize it. And I one thing that I also do, Manal, which I agree with you, is that we know how to use NLP in different contexts of our life, right?
Yeah.
That has been one of my priorities when I became a master trainer, because Philippines, even Pakistan, English is not our first language.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And the question is, how do you use NLP in your day to day using the dialect that you have, right? And that's very important. With NLP, we know how to map across, we know how to use the tools and techniques in our own dialect and get the results. That's one skill, right? It's
Yes.
so practical that from English we know how to use it in our day-to-day life to get the results that we want. But again, going back to the technique that has helped me become an effective, powerful trainer, it's trainer state, and all the things that we learned from trainers training, that has been one of the best investments that has happened in my life, and it just helped me level up as a speaker, as a trainer. And also I think it's also about the intentions. What is our intention when we give our trainings, right? When we give our talks. I After NLP, I became more intentional. I learned how to use my intentions to convey my message to other people. So that's one thing as well that I got from NLP, using intentions, no, being more intentional. And going back to being at cause, just being at cause helped me just transcend. At times we are still at the effect side, but because we know that we need to be at cause, and that's the place that we want to be to achieve our goals, then we can just remind ourselves. I think one thing as well to add for everyone is the universal model for change, right? The
Yes.
universal model for change is so powerful if you understand it at a deeper level, because if you are at the C of your life, right, the A, B, C, and D, you know, if you're at the C, then the only way to go out of that situation from being stuck to being unstuck is to be better than who you are. And the question there is, who do you need to become? What tools do you need to to put within you so that you get to help yourself go out of that situation? And that's the beauty of NLP. We have a lot of tools that we can use to our advantage.
Correct, correct. I totally agree with that. And when you were speaking, I think one of the techniques, and other techniques, I think there are so many we can talk for hours and hours. But just seeing the real world impact more and what we can bring in such such a short span at this point in time. So basically, June, strategy. The strategy concept of
Yeah.
strategies, installation of strategies, and all of that. How do you see that concept? And like, if you talk about your clients and you talk about your, students, how do you think that particularly they have incorporated this powerful phenomena in their life and in their performance enhancement?
For strategies, because you become aware, right? Because you know how to elicit. Even at NLP practitioner level, you know how to elicit your strategies. So you become aware on, why do you sabotage yourself? Why do you keep on getting the same results over and over again? Because of that, you can backtrack. You can figure out the strategy of what you're doing and then change the strategy so that you get better results. So you become more intentional of everything. Even for me, Manahil, I was asking myself, why am I not getting the results? There must be something wrong with my thinking. So what's the
Mm,
strategy that I was having that kept giving me the same results? And it ended up that I was self-sabotaging because I had conflicts.
mm,
So that was the inner conflict. That was my because of the inner conflict, my strategy, when it came to money, was always go up and then down, go up and then down, go up and
mm.
then down. And then when I was able to finally integrate it using parts integration, then yeah, everything just fell into just went 10x, right? Just
Correct.
10x.
Right, right. That makes sense. I think that's true. That strategy is, something that I heard first in NLP and that really, you know, shook me for the first time. Is like the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And before that, in any capacity, I never realized I was doing something very wrong. Like wrong in a way that, I always ended up not having the results I wanted. And, I would go in that loop of negative thinking that, self-blaming that I always do things bad. Why do I always, end up, messing up things back in time when I didn't know about NLP. And then later on, I realized that, I had a strategy of
Yeah.
even working, which was very wrong, and that was more of concern with also procrastination, that I would delay a task more and more,
Mm.
unless and then in a thinking that I can perform well when I'm under pressure. But then I used to get into doubts when I had lesser time to complete a task. So that was procrastination, yes, I do understand, but that there was also a strategy of me performing
Yeah.
tasks, right? So sometimes some things are so similar, but they are integrating at points of procrastination. You talk about it and 100 people come up and they're like, me, like, right? So these are the everyday issues, and at the end I would say that I am not perfect. uh, no one can be perfect, right? But we aim as trainers, as coaches, as people who are still learning, sitting in trainings with our supervisors and trying to learn from the best again, is just trying to enhance our performance, to
Yeah.
improve the quality of life. So I always say to people, see, we are not looking for 10 on 10. I think that is not achievable, because if it is achieved, then I think there is nothing to do else, do more in life, right?
True.
Something that keeps us going is that 9 on 10, that 8 on 10, which always allows us to maybe invest in ourselves more and more. So I always say, no, NLP is not a magic that it is going to convert your life. Yes, it's going to bring more awareness in terms of understanding the challenge and then working on the challenge. And that only is going to improve the quality of your life and the performance that you can give back to the world. That is only the intention. We're not selling magic here. Like I wish that was something, but it's nothing. In real life, it's all effort based. But the question is how to do that effort. Basically, NLP for me is how to do efforts in life. We really need to learn the ways and the mannerism of putting efforts. And I think NLP has, I was always somebody who was ready to work hard, but I did not know which dimension to work hard in. So
True.
NLP gave me that dimension of understanding how I could enhance my performance and get out of those stuck states. So that is actually the real life impact that it brought to me. It still brings to my clients. It is doing for my students and it's doing for people around the world. Anything else, June, that you would want to add as the ending statement of this podcast?
For me is that it's our responsibility to help ourselves. You need to keep on equipping yourselves to help you achieve your goals faster, because what is it that you really want, right? And you need to focus on what you want, take action. And one thing that I learned is that you need to also be in tune with your spirituality. So it's very important that you are also aligned with your faith, right? You need to be aligned with your faith, whoever you worship, Allah, no, Jehovah, the Lord. And aside from that, you need to be aligned with your mental and emotional self, right? Your
Right.
mental and emotional self. So NLP will help you with the mental capacity, with your mindset. Timeline therapy will help you with the emotions. Imagine being able to reprogram and heal yourself anytime. And it will just help you 10x your life. If you feel that you're having a block right now in your life, you know how to process it. Sometimes, yeah, it takes a while that you get out of a challenge in your life, but compared to not having any tools, right? So it's really different. And when you have tools, for example, this is what happened to me, Manahel. Last January, I was in a stuck state. So I
Hmm.
didn't. I was having a challenge in my life. I didn't understand how I was able to how I could move forward. But because I know the tools and techniques, I realized that I need to help myself, right? Who do I need to reach out to help me move forward in our life? So those are the things compared to just being at the effect side of our life, then doing nothing, and then after a while, it just the results just came, and you get to help yourself. I get to help myself, and yeah, here I am now. So NLP really is for me so life changing, and I believe that each and every one should know this because you know the tools in your trade, right? You are very good in what you do, the technicalities of what you do, but you need to also have the technicalities to help yourself anytime. But again, this is not for everyone. I believe that those who are ready are just, these are only for those who are already ready.
Right. I truly agree for this idea that NLP is for everyone, but not for anyone, right? So
Mm.
it's basically for everyone. If you want to work on this, yes, sure, it will help you, but not anyone who is not ready to accept, that they are responsible to
True.
change the environment around them or change the relationships around them or the whole vibe around them. So it's within you and it's you who creates the reality that you have, right? So I think it's a wonderful note to end this podcast. And I hope everyone, once you have this podcast in front of you, you'll thoroughly enjoy that. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And thank you so much, June, for being a part of this podcast. I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion and the time just flew by as always. So very soon, inshallah, we'll be planning another podcast with yet another amazing, interesting topic. Till then, thank you everyone. Thank you, June, and see you all very, very soon. Take care. Allah Hafiz.